Okay, 8th graders, let's go over some of the formulas we have for slope. I will put the formulas on the board so you'll know the basic of what the slope formula looks like. So for example, for this first question where it says rewrite in slope-intercept form, I will have written on the board slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. But you're going to need to know, how do I make this form look like this form? And so notice that in the y equals mx plus b form, I'm solving for y. I want to get y all by itself, and then I'm going to make sure that my x term comes first, and then my constant term comes at the end. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's take our 3x minus 4y, and let's shift things around. Now, whenever I take a term and I move it across the equal sign, I need to do the opposite operation. So if I want to take this whole term, 3x, and I want to put it on the other side of the equal sign, I'm going to take the whole thing and I'm going to subtract it off. So now those cancel out, and I have negative 4y on the left side, and on the right side, I want to keep my mx plus b form. So I'm going to put the term with the x first, and then the term without anything second. I'm saying plus 12 because it's a positive 12. If that were a negative number, I can say minus on there. So now I'm getting close. I have everything except in the correct place, except for the y has a negative 4 with it. And up here, my y is all by itself. So I want it to just be a y. So what I need to do next is I need to divide the negative 4 off of the y. I'm dividing because that's how it's attached to the y. Right now it says negative 4, and then they're touching the y, and that means multiply. So to do the opposite, I'm going to divide. If I divide the left side by negative 4, I'm dividing the entire right side by negative 4. So that gave me what I want on the left, y equals, and now I'm going to take each one of these parts, I'm going to take the term and divide it by negative 4, and take this term or this piece and divide it by negative 4. So it's like two separate division problems. So if I take this first one, I'm just going to write it a little bit neater over here. It says, oops, negative 3x divided by negative 4. Well, a negative divided by a negative is a positive number, but 3/4 is just going to stay 3/4. It doesn't simplify into a whole number. So I'm going to take those negatives off because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And this x, even though it's up on the top, really could go next to it. And it makes more sense when we're writing it in y equals mx plus b form to put it next to it. Then I'm going to take my 12 divided by negative 4. So it's a positive 12 divided by a negative 4. So positive 12 divided by negative 4 gives me a negative 3. So I'm going to write negative 3 or minus 3. And that's in slope-intercept form. Let's do another one. Same thing. I want to get y equals mx plus b, because that's what slope-intercept form is. So I need to make sure that my y is on the left and my x is on the right, and right now they're in the wrong spot. So I'm going to take my y and I'm going to move it. Now technically I'm not moving it, I'm taking 2y off of both sides, which clears it off of this side, and now I have a negative 2y on the left side. And I also have a positive 4x. That should say plus 4x. Okay, and on this side, I just have a positive 16 left, so I'm going to write 16. All right, in the next step, what I'm going to do is I want to get this y by itself, so I'm going to get rid of the plus 4x. I'm going to subtract 4x. What I do to the left, I'm going to do to the right, so minus 4x, those cancel, minus 4x. And let's rewrite what I have right now. So right now, I have negative 2y is equal to negative 4x plus 16. And my final step, I want to get rid of the negative 2 that's attached to the y, so I'm going to divide by negative 2. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. Remember, when I'm dividing everything by negative 2. So I'm going to look at this first term and say negative 4 divided by negative 2 is a positive 2, x. And 16 divided by negative 2 is a negative 8. Done. Now this one is written in y equals mx plus b form, and I want to change it to standard form. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. And then we had the rules that a had to be positive. A, B, and C have to be integers, which means no fractions and no decimals. So let's go ahead and start moving things around here. Let's take this x term and get it to the other side. So I'm going to do the opposite operation, adding 2x to both sides. So if I keep this in ax plus by form, I'm going to start with my x term, and then I'm adding y, and that equals 3. Now I dropped this plus because it's a positive 3. If it said minus, I would write it as a negative number. Okay, so then next, I'm done actually, sorry. So right now, because I have it in ax plus by equals c form, even though you don't see any number with the y, we could put a 1 there and it works, but we don't need a number in front. It's just showing that it could have a number in front. Since the 2 is positive and all 3, a, b, and c are integers, I'm done. Let's do this one. Same thing. I want to rearrange things so that I have it look like ax plus by equals c. All right, so I'm going to add 13y to both sides because I want the y term off of this side and on to the other side. So I'm going to start with my x plus 13y equals positive 4. I, again, am already done. That's all I needed to do because my first term is positive and all of my terms are whole numbers or integers. Point slope form is where you have y minus y1 is equal to the slope and then x minus x1. Okay? So for point slope form, even though it looks kind of confusing, it's basically a manipulation of y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Oops, that should say x1. So slope equals that. And if we manipulate the slope formula, that's what we're changing. So all I need to do here is take these things I know, the slope and this 1 point, and put them into these empty spots. So these spots need to be filled because in an equation, we can leave x and y as things that change, but we want to put all of the other things as values or numbers. So in this particular form, I want to do all the ones that have arrows. So my x1 and my y1 are going to be the ones that we see in the problem. My x and my y are going to be ones that we plug in. We're not going to actually plug in anything for this one because all we need to do is write it in this form. Okay, so this is one that should actually be simple. You're just plugging in numbers to the 3 spots that need numbers. We have 3 numbers. We just need to know what they mean. So I'm going to take my point slope form, y minus, and then my y1 is this term 5, equals the slope, which is negative 3, times x minus, and then x1 is 4. That's all I need to do. Plug those numbers in. So let's plug the numbers in again. So remember the formula was y minus y1 is equal to m and then x minus x1. And remember, this will be shown. It will just say point slope form, and it will show this, but you need to know what to do. You need to know which spaces need to have things plugged in. So we know that we're going to be plugging in for y1 and x1, and we're going to be plugging in for the slope. So let's do that. We've got a slope of 1/2. We've got an x1 and a y1 shown. So I'm going to say y minus 7 is equal to 1/2, and then x minus negative 2. Now I can clean this up a little bit by saying y minus 7 is equal to 1/2, and then x plus 2. I'd prefer that you make it look nice like that as your final answer. All right, see you in the next learning target.